categories. It was actually very difficult to get information on your customers. You know, these were pre-Facebook days or maybe early Facebook days. It was hard to actually get a lot of customer demographic. Fast forward to today, in 2018, there's over 50,000 ways you can classify a customer. Your customer personas need to be dynamic, automated, and have the ability to change. Access to information on your customers is now readily available. In today's digital age, customers expect businesses to leverage data not for their own benefit, but for the benefit of the customer. And I was just talking to our CTO today when we were preparing this. We were talking about how we've actually foregone more and more of our privacy for convenience, right? Who here uses Google Maps? Does everyone like when they drive you around a traffic accident that just happened like a minute before down the road? That's because you've opted in to actually share your personal information to make a better experience. A friend of mine has a startup called Pocketbook that allows you to add your internet banking in, and he actually will make it easier for you to categorize your expenses, like Xero for personal finances. But he uses that information to talk to a big bank or talk to a big merchant about opening up new stores. So this is a way that we're sort of sharing our information to better have our customer experience increased. Today's customers want you to engage with them on their own terms, in their own time, in their own context. So gone are the days where you could tell customers when you needed to do something. I remember lining up for like Michael Jackson tickets in the car park of Ticketek. I'll show my age. You know, now you can sign up 10 computers and get 10 tickets. You don't even have to leave your seat. You know, it's changed, and I want to do things on my terms now. To survive, businesses now need to provide their customers with more relevant and valuable conversations at the right time. Because if you're getting them at the wrong time, the message will just completely go over their head. Here's an example. Meet Alexis. She just purchased a flight and a hotel at a known ski resort destination. But she didn't actually purchase any lift tickets. So because we can know that she's actually purchased the flight and the hotel, 30 minutes later, we're actually going back to her and sending her an email saying, hey, we noticed that you didn't purchase any lift tickets, but you're going to a ski resort and you just bought flights for a ski. They're also going to say, you know, you didn't purchase a spa package, or you know, you didn't book a restaurant at that place. This is an example of sharing information to be able to customize the experience. And the good thing is that this has actually helped Alexis, because she's on the go, she's walking between her job and work and home, and it's actually helped her because in one click she can actually book those lift tickets, which she forgot to do because she booked the flight and hotel on her phone and got distracted with a call. So it's an example of how customer experience can actually help. But in this case, you know, we've had to know what was in her email. We'd have to have cookied the website that she booked those flights on. You know, this is all information that you have to share to get that improved customer experience. And there's a balance here to say, you know, where do we go with our privacy and how much are we willing to share to enhance the customer experience? But who thinks that she'd actually purchased that package? She's just been given 25% and 30% discount on that spa package. Do you think she might buy it? Or would she wait till she arrives and go the hassle of walking up and where is the ticket booth and all that sort of stuff? It's making it easier. And you're getting a discount because you're buying online. And it helps the business. They know how many people are coming because they know the ticket sales in advance. They can staff up more appropriately. So there's huge benefits to this transaction. I believe it's time to shift from short-term sales to long-term relationships. A great example of this is Apple. How many people who have Apple products describe, I love my Apple product, I love my Mac, I love my iPhone? You know, love is a super strong word. And Apple has realized the value of long-term partnerships and long-term relationships. Most Apple customers will buy multiple times and multiple products. So you're not just getting in and getting out. You're actually coming along with the journey of the customer. You're getting into their lives. You're providing them more and more product as you go along. And then we start talking about voice. You'll hear a lot about voice tonight. Imagine a world where your voice assistant reminds you to order an anniversary present. You know, it's my wedding anniversary this weekend. My wife's in the room somewhere. You know, I had a thing that, imagine where your voice assistant was looking at your email, looking at your calendar, saw your wedding anniversaries this weekend, looked at your internet banking and saw you haven't bought anything expensive, and it suggested that you should buy something. Hey, Andrew, you forgot to buy a wedding anniversary present for this weekend. And then I said, great, yes, I did. Buy it now. And the order went off to an e-commerce retailer, and they bought that, shipped it to my house, and it was ready when I finished work on a Friday. We go out for dinner. That's not fiction, that's here and now. It's already here with voice. Imagine a world where we remind a customer to pack an umbrella before a trip, or we recommend a restaurant before they arrive into a new city. These are types of things that exist now with things like custom intent audiences and intent audiences. You can now advertise to people that we know are doing these things. So if you're in the travel space, you can advertise based on who's traveling to that destination. You don't need to know when they're arriving or anything like that. It's not that creepy. It's, you know, show them an ad, show them something as they're actually coming into that area. Imagine a world where you know exactly what your customer wants when they want it. You know, it's giving you the ability to actually put your products and services in front of them. I believe it creates real-time value, and you can actually have these proud brand advocates and make them into long-term, lifelong customers because the experience is so great. You know, businesses now are actually wanting a phenomenal experience. If you give a bad experience, they're going to rush off to give you a 1-star review on whatever review platform they like. But give them a great experience, they'll just keep buying from you. They'll keep loyal to you. Now more than ever, you need to understand who your customer is, how they behave, and what they want. This is an example of listening to your customer's behavior, right? So we had some customers, we were talking to a real estate group once, and I said, you got your website and people are constantly searching for properties, buying or leasing. Is the buyer different to person looking to rent? Yes. Great. How many times do you change the message based on buying or renting? Because they are two very different things. And imagine I'm looking for my family home, and I'm constantly searching on your real estate website for 4-bedroom houses in a certain area. Why show me a 2-bedroom apartment? You know? And that's what they were doing. They were sending out these mass messages and weren't customizing the experience to me. And then I go on to the big aggregators, and everything is customized. The moment I start searching for 3-bedroom houses in a certain area, I see 3-bedroom houses until the cows come home. That's personalization, you know, and it makes me feel better. It's listening to what your customers want when they want it. I'm going to hammer on voice. You'll see 3 out of 4 searches on Google now done by voice. That's pretty crazy. 3 out of 4 searches now done on voice. This is a global stat, right? US, they've had voice assistants for a really long time. So it's a global stat. Australia's going to follow suit. Because Bose, the QC35s, go on a plane, see every person on the plane wearing those noise-cancelling earphones, now have voice assistant in them. So you can actually speak to them and search and do things like that. The cars, they've always had it, you know. Lots and lots more cars are going to have it soon. Other devices that just, it makes sense to be able to speak to them. I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, 4-year-old son, 2-year-old daughter. I don't think my 2-year-old will ever type. Because right now they can take my phone, they can take my iPad, open up YouTube Kids and type in Batman videos, and then they'll actually have a full load of Batman videos come up and then they can watch Batman videos. At 2 years old, she can actually search on a device without typing. So this is a really interesting one. Searches including opening hours have dropped by over 300%. However, open now is up by 500%. Because no one cares what your opening hours are anymore. We're too time poor. All I want to know is JB Hi-Fi open now, because I'm about to walk down there to get something. You know, is the restaurant still open? Is the bar still open? Is the wherever still open? And conversational search is how you speak to a voice assistant. whereas you used to type things in differently to the way you speak. You can see by the numbers, this is where it's going. Just a quick one on the numbers. Dimitri asked, who has a Google My Business page? You have opening hours on your Google My Business page. I remember a large pub group that I was talking to, and a very, very large pub group. They have pubs and like liquor stores, where you can go there to get liquor stores. The pub would be open much later than the liquor store. The liquor store would close at 9 o'clock. The pub would stay open until 2 or 3 in the morning. And they were wondering why no one was coming to their pub between 9 and 2 in the morning. And what I realized, the opening hours of the liquor shop were on the pub's Google My Business page. So when people were searching for pubs near me, open now, whatever, they were all closed. And see, Google My Business won't show a Google My Business page if you're closed, because the search engine's biggest thing is about relevance. So if you show a place that's closed, how long do you think you'd search on these search engines for? Not very long, right? You'd be going to Yahoo. So if you want to increase your leads by 200%, you need to do a few things. You need to give your customers information at the right time. But our good friends at Autopilot, they mentioned that if you contact your customers 2 to 4 times per month, it's a guaranteed way of increasing your leads by 200%. Just by speaking to your customers 2 to 4 times per month. It's pretty simple, right? Send them an email, give them a call, send them a text, post something on social media. So, how do you put this into practice? If you're a beginner in the room, what you need to do is install Google Analytics. It's a free tool by Google, and it's actually going to allow you to see what people are doing on your website. I saw everyone pretty much in the room has a website. If you don't have Google Analytics, install it. The next one you want to do is install Facebook and LinkedIn pixels. It's, once again, free tool. Drop it on your website, and then go into Facebook, a tool called Audience Insights, and look at who your customer is. It's going to tell you the exact demographic, male versus female. It's going to tell you whether they click on ads, whether they don't click on ads. It's going to tell you what pages they like. So I remember sitting down with a particular brand. It was like a high-end massage sort of brand, and they had affinity with Coco Republic, David Jones, and all that sort of thing. And then there was some real weird standouts where, like, it was Michelle Bridges' 12 weeks transformation or something like that, So by putting that little pixel on your website, it's free, go in there and actually have a look. I remember talking to a trade business, and it was a big trade business, like the things that are in Bunnings, and we dropped that into their page, and they realized that 60% of their visitors were female, whereas all of their advertising was to men. And I was like, well, 60% are actually women, And they just completely missed that demographic without just dropping that free tool. Google Search Console is a really good one. Once again, another free tool, and it will tell you what keywords people are searching to reach your page. So if you don't have that, put that in there and see what people are searching. You'd be really interested to see how many open nows, how many near me's, how many those types of searches are actually coming up. If you're in the intermediate crowd, you need to start doing that marketing automation. Send emails out at the right time. You need to segment your email database based on activity. So, as I was saying, that real estate person who has those websites with all the different pages about 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom units, they should only be sending emails to me as soon as they know I'm interested in a 4-bedroom house about a 4-bedroom house. Another thing to do is, if I'm a high spender for your business, don't send me a coupon code for something that's a low product, right? It's actually going to turn me off the brand. So knowing how to actually send stuff at the right time. Behavioral emails are really, really good to send because they're targeted, they have a huge response rate, and you capture them at the right time. One of the things that we do with our blogs is that when someone subscribes to our blog for the first time, we send 3 blog articles. One is really technical, one sort of intermediate, one sort of real basic. And if they click on the basic one more than twice when they get that email, we'll actually put them in a basic bucket. And we'll only send them basic stuff. And then we'll build it up. Because if I send them something super technical written by our CTO, they're not going to respond. And I'm doing disservice to my customers if I do that, If you're part of the advanced crowd, as John, tech guru, you want to be doing drip marketing, individual personalization of website landing pages. So I don't know if you know, but when you visit a website, that website may actually be different based on you visiting that site. So say, for instance, if you go to Apple and you look at the MacBook, chances are when you come back, the homepage is going to have a MacBook on it. But if you go and have a look at the AirPods and you go back to the homepage is going to have AirPods on it. I remember when I first saw this about 6 years ago at an Adobe event, and it blew me away. And all they were doing was changing it from Western Hemisphere to Southern Hemisphere. And one was a snow scene and one was a beach scene. You know, I was like, wow, you know. But it's individual based on where I am. So if they come in from a Western Hemisphere IP address, they show a snow scene. If they come in from a Southern Hemisphere, they show a beach scene. Pretty simple. And then if you're also in the events crowd, you need to be pulling in your data from everywhere. Now, pretty much every business in the world now has their data in multiple places. CRM data, POS data, you know, offline data, customer data, all different places. You need to start pulling all that together because you need to have one single unified view of your customer. You can't have siloed customers. Remember how I said in 2004 it was really easy to keep control of your data? That's because you had no data. You know, in 2018, you have data everywhere. You have data who's listening to our live stream on Facebook right now. Great, they love live streams. We'll bucket them for live streams, you know. We have people that respond to every blog post we put out. Great, we'll put them in the high engage bucket, you know, and we'll send them even more content, you know. So that's it. So my key takeaways for today, data and personalization is a must if you want to continue going. Reach your customers at the right time, in the right frame of mind. One biggest thing is people don't like to be sold, but they'll be happily influenced into making a decision. It's pretty much the same thing, right? So thanks a lot. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll get on with our panel. Okay. So our first guest for the evening is Katie. Katie, you want to come across? Katie's a creative inspiration. She's a co-founder and director of a company called George and Smee.
Hello.
They're an amazingly creative event styling company, and we're lucky enough to work with them. We also have the other part of George and Smee here as well. And you know, you can see some of the beautiful work that they do. Really up and coming. These guys are doing some amazing events. We're lucky enough to film one of their events last week, which was a Messina Tim Tam event at Bondi Iceberg. So you can imagine how amazing that was. And you know, it was meant to be an hour, but Hannah ended up spending all day there. So you know, it must have been a good day. So thanks for joining us.
Pleasure.
And David Hyman. So Dave is the MD of Lendi, one of Australia's fastest growing fintechs. Dave is also a director of DigitalMaas, so we're very lucky to have him on our board. He has a massive team. They've built a revolutionary home loan platform that uses large amounts of technology and data to really enhance that user experience, going into a very, very interesting, old and stale market and coming at it with a really unique way of doing it and being very, very successful as we go along. So thanks for joining us, Dave. And Alex, so Alex Wershaw from Google. So Alex is actually our account manager over at Google. She's amazing. I'm surprised she's not wearing her crown today.
I'm very surprised with this video, guys. That's not usually what I use for my presentation.
So Alex is, as I said, from Google. She works with the strategic partner accounts over at Google, which we're part of that team with Google. And she's amazing. She has some incredible knowledge about Google products and Google in general. So great to have you on the panel tonight as well, Alex.
Thank you.
And also joining me on the panel, interviewing our panelists tonight is Hannah Curtis, who's our Chief Operating Officer at DigitalMaas as well. So thanks for joining us. Hannah. Yeah, I'll come over there.
No, you're right. Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. All right, well, we're going to kick off the night just understanding a little bit more about Katie's business. So as Andrew gave us a brief overview, but Katie's had an incredible story of growth in a bit of a different industry, I guess, to our two tech guys here. She's our more creative flair to the board. So Katie's just going to talk us through a little bit of the journey about George and Smee and how they got to where they are today.
Hi everyone, I'm Katie, Smee from George and Smee, and George is at the front because she absolutely hates public speaking, even more than I do. Yeah, so a little bit about us. We started about 4 years ago, which is actually when we met. We met on a hen weekend, and after a few wines, we both discovered that we absolutely loved being creative. And so we decided from there to, during the weekends, we would go to Bondi Market, and we would sell restored furniture that we'd pick up on the side of the road, and we'd paint it and we'd restore it and we'd sell it at the market, which we loved doing. It was very much just a hobby at that stage. And even though it was really fun, we literally weren't making any money at all. Luckily, George had just got married, and she discovered that there was a bit of a gap in the market for people to hire furniture like this. So rather than sell it, we thought maybe we could hire furniture, and that's what we did. So that was great. We built a massive collection by going on the side of the streets, picking up furniture. We went to auction houses, we went to junkyards, and we built a massive collection. And then we built a website. And we spread the word through friends and on Instagram and Facebook about our brand and whether people wanted to hire our furniture. But quite quickly, after a few events, we realized we didn't really just want to hire out furniture. We wanted, that was pretty much like being a removalist, which we didn't really want to do. So we decided we had quite a good eye for styling, and so maybe we would do that as well. So we took on the arm of styling. We then discovered that we loved flowers as well. So we did some online courses, and we became florists, basically. And basically, we just kept being flexible and seeing opportunities where we could. And quite quickly, we became really busy and went from being part-time to full-time. And we got some really cool clients along the way. We now work regularly with Facebook and Instagram and Diageo and loads of PR companies and beauty brands, as well as doing lots of really cool weddings at the weekends. We have gone from being rammed in our own garages with all of our furniture to now having a big warehouse in Matraville. We also have gone just from being us to being a team now of 5, having a beautiful office in Bondi where we look over the ocean, as well as having a flower studio there as well. And yeah, it's been an amazing journey. We haven't ever had a business plan at all. We've just seen where opportunities come and been flexible with it. And we feel so lucky, and we absolutely love what we do.
Lucky you. Yeah, look, I guess you've had a great growth story. I think everyone here is probably looking to grow a business, or their marketing manager looking to grow someone else's business. You know, what tips have you got on how you've grown George and Smee? Like you said, you know, there wasn't much of a plan, but you're also everywhere on social. You're doing everything on Google. Like, what have you found?
Yeah.
What are your marketing
So
tips?
by no means were we experts, particularly in the online field, and still are not. But we have tried everything along the way, and to try and get an idea of what works. And I think that's beneficial for any company to ever do, is just try everything and see what works. So a massive amount of our work comes through referrals and through word of mouth, and also repeat customers, which is always a good sign. And also Facebook and Instagram are massive parts of our business, which is quite easy for us to do at the beginning, although now we're so busy, we do employ someone to look after our social media. And then I think one of the big changes was last year when we decided to really focus on online, and employed DigitalMaas to help. And we just literally couldn't believe the difference in with them looking after our SEO and our SEM. Our inquiries have just gone through the roof. So that's when we had to start employing a lot more people. And then with tips that you've given us, like Google My Business, we try and update our photos on there quite a lot. Instagram, we've got someone now looking after our Instagram and Facebook and social media. Also, we try and get round to doing blogs, but we run out of time sometimes, but that's definitely, and what you just said, that's definitely something that we want to do more of. So I think those are probably the main things. I mean, we've tried traditional publications, like magazines, and that, for us, we don't think, although it might be more difficult to track, but we don't think it's probably as beneficial, so we generally stick to online. And then people have written articles about us as well, which, like George had a baby a couple of years ago, so someone wrote an article about how we dealt with that. And I think that probably also helps our SEO by being online in different articles.
They're also up for Businesswomen of Bondi
Oh, yeah.
of the Year, George and Smee. We'll let you know if they win or not.
Well done. John?
Okay, so Dave, you run a large fintech company, you've invested a lot of money, you've got a lot of staff. What are the main marketing channels you use, and what would you recommend to everyone today?
Yeah, I think when we came into the space, we were none of us came out of the fin services space, and we were competing against like four of the biggest brands in the big banks, plus in the broker space, brands like Aussie and Mortgage Choice. And going back to sort of 2013 when we started the business, we really had to kind of try and find an edge to compete with these guys. So just very, very quickly, in short, we're an online home loan platform. So we allow customers to compare loans from all the major lenders. And so from a customer perspective, our customers are any homeowners. So we had to really sort of try and find a way that, without competing at the time with players like CBA or Aussie Home Loans on Google, we could actually compete competitively. So we started off in channels like paid search and social, but we couldn't really go in some of the more expensive campaigns. So we were one of the first businesses in Australia to launch the concept of a free property report. So we partnered up with CoreLogic, we got access to their data, and we allow customers to come onto our platform and get a free property report for a place they're looking to buy, or see if they could get a value on their own place. And then we sort of partner all of that up with, and Andrew sort of mentioned, we're really a data business. So we've got over 2 million consumers, PII, so we've identified the consumers in our kind of ecosystem on our platform. And going back in the early days, it was about taking people on the journey and acquiring them through sort of online channels, and then making sure that we had sort of the data that we're collecting on them and using that to optimize all of the different marketing journeys. So as someone might get a free property report on a house they're looking to buy, that might be followed up with tips and tricks around how to get approved for a home loan, or things related to the property search lifecycle, so that ultimately a home loan transaction can flow at the back of it.
So some great examples of journeys and just pushing them straight through the funnel.
Yeah, and that's now, we were sort of looking at our kind of accounting setup the other day. We've now got thousands of journeys, different permutations. Our AdWords account has 180,000 keywords in it now. It's quite complex these days.
Wow. I think Dave's got about 5 people looking after it as well. Amazing. Alex, I guess one of the difficult things for a business owner and any marketing manager is probably just to keep on top of all the changes that are happening all the time. We find it hard to keep on top of everything, and we're just reading it the entire day. What tips have you got for customers on what's coming out, what's the newest trends, what they need to kind of keep on top of this year, if we just look at this year to start with?
Absolutely. Definitely happy to answer this question, but I will start with thanking you all for coming here. I know it's not easy to find time during our busy days, so thank you so much for investing this time in learning more about digital, about what DigitalMaas can do for you, and what are the trends in the industry. Hannah, I couldn't agree more with all the changes that are happening, not only at Google, but in digital as a whole. Every Monday that I come to my offices, I have tons of unread emails about all the different features that were created overnight on AdWords or Google My Business, Google Analytics. So it's very hard even for me to keep up with all the changes. I do see main trends that Google is following and leaning towards. Number one, mobile. And I know that we've been talking about mobile for years. Pretty much every year, 2014, 15, 16 was the year of mobile. It is still true for us. What we've noticed is a very positive change that both users and the advertisers move towards mobile. The advertising budgets are shifting towards mobile. However, what hasn't changed yet is the speed of the page, so how fast it loads after a user clicks on it. So this is a big focus for us at Google. I have a lot of stats for you because that's what Google is good at. We sit on all this data, and I read that if you improve the speed of your website by 1 second, that will bring you on average 27% increase in conversions. And conversions are all the actions that matter to you, so phone calls to your business, transactions, different lead forms that users are sending. So mobile is still on the radar. It's very important for us because that's where all of us are. I'm pretty sure that all of you have your mobile phone within 1 meter from you. So you are there, I am there, and that's where the brands and marketers should also be. Number 2, very important, video. Another interesting statistics that was actually quite shocking for me is that by 2020, so in 2 years, over 80% of the traffic on the internet will be consumed by video. It's a huge change. Me as a user, I don't think I'm yet there. Like, I do watch a lot of videos, I have to admit, not only on Google or on YouTube, but on Facebook as well. But still, the fact that 80% of the traffic will come through video is surprising. It's great, but it also means a huge change in users' behavior just within the next 2 years. So obviously, as marketers, we need to be there as well, because that's where all the users are. Number 3, also very important, is as a Google product, shopping. Commercial queries are increasing year over year, and with the recent change of Amazon entering the market, we do see a high increase of queries related to e-commerce. So for all of those that do sell online, it's important to be strong, to have a strong presence there. So my advice to you would be to look at all your marketing efforts more holistically. Don't focus just on search or display or YouTube separately. Consider those all the platforms that you as a user are part of. And as a marketer, it's important to reach that user no matter which platform he or she is on right now.
I think that's really interesting with the video piece. Is that I was just talking to our caterer as he was coming up in the lift today, and I was saying to him, we're going to do a behind-the-scenes footage of you taking the food out of your van. We're going to film you coming up in the lift. We're going to film you putting the boxes down. We're going to high-five in the lift, you know. And he goes to me, he goes, "That's crazy. Like, why would we do that?" And I said, "Because people want to learn what it's like to be a caterer." I said, because all these aspirational people sitting at their desk, maybe they're an accountant or something else, but they've got a love for food. So they want to see what it's like to be a caterer for a day. So they'll follow your Instagram, they'll watch your videos, they'll do everything like that, and it's authentic and it's real. And he's like, "Well, you know, should I do my hair?" No, don't worry about it. You know, don't worry about it. Crinkled shirt, let's go. You know, it's about getting it out there. And you know, we've definitely increased the amount of video that we're doing. As you can see, Tom from Sprinkler Media over here, we're streaming live to Facebook, to YouTube. We're putting out video content like never before, and it's being consumed at such a rapid rate by our audience that we're seeing all of our audience size increase just on the back of video. And you might look at your business and go, "Well, you know, I'm not doing amazing events, or, you know, my business is so boring." But you'd be surprised about some really cool videos you can come up with, even if it's just you talking as an expert in your field into your phone, teaching someone about something, you know? Because the good thing that the internet did is it brought all of us closer to be able to learn about anything you want to learn about. That's what I love most about the internet. I can go onto YouTube and I can watch how to mow my lawn, I can watch how to build a post office box for my little house, you know. I can do anything I want, you know. Peppa Pig, yeah, paper mache Peppa Pig. So yeah, no, really interesting. I think my suggestion to you there off the back of that video is just create it. Don't worry about anything else. Don't worry about producing top quality videos. Just create it and then see what people watch. Don't record the stuff that no one watched. Record more of the stuff that people do watch and interact with. So.
Yeah, like I couldn't agree more with that. And again, it's all about that user behavior. So as a fun fact, I do have a very young stepbrother who is 8 years old, and very recently he told me that he wants to be a YouTube star. And he's coming to me, it's like, "Alex, like, you need to help me be on YouTube. Like, that's my profession, that's what I want to do. I want to play video games, FIFA, his favorite ones, and I want you to record me and put it on YouTube and make me famous." And that actually shocked me, because I actually, back then when he asked me, I haven't created any videos on YouTube, and he's looking up to me, asking for advice, saying, "You know, you work for Google, and YouTube belongs to Google, so you should should know all that. Like, okay, relax. So yeah, he wants to be a YouTube star.
Yeah.
Just linking into that, I think our question might be a little bit more obvious now, but to the audience, who knows what the second largest search engine is in the world? What was that? YouTube. A little bit easier since conversations we've just been having. Katie, Dave, are either of you using video right now in stories to share with anyone, or is it something you're going to start doing after this conversation?
We haven't used YouTube yet, but after this conversation, I think we should. We have occasionally had interviews done with us, or we've had our events filmed, like the other day, and we've had that previously done with us setting up an event. And we notice on Facebook that thousands of people watch it. Annoyingly, George and I are not the kind of people who like to stand in front of a camera, so we see other people in our industry bring amazing on Insta stories and like constantly filming themselves and saying how to do tips. And I think it probably would be really beneficial for us to do that. So either we have to find someone on our team who does like doing that, or we've just got to suck it up.
Yeah, we need to do more. We do a little bit with video. Most of our videos actually spawned out of TV, so we've got quite a few TVCs that we've readapted to Facebook or YouTube format, and we're just filming another one kind of in the coming month, and looking to adapt that across a bunch of other platforms as well. So we found video content, and one of our best performing Facebook ads, incidentally, is a cut down version of a TV interview that we had, because there's, depending on the different types of video content, Andrew's talking about kind of self-recorded stuff, which is great. You can have, you know, what you did with the caterer. There's a bit of social proof there as well, where you've got not only the business talking, but someone saying, hey, I vouched for this business because I filmed it and I was involved there. So it's a really powerful medium because it can convey such a lot in such a quick period of time.
I also think people don't necessarily know what's available. Like when we've spoken about YouTube to some of our customers and partners, they're kind of like, well, I mean, Katie, sorry to quote you today, she goes, what should I do? Like start a YouTube channel? I don't really know what you're even talking about when you say YouTube. I mean, Alex, I don't know if you want to give like a 30-second, just like what is the opportunity on YouTube? What can people even do on there? Apart from watch, DIY movies.
Definitely. Yeah, so the way I would look into that is first to establish your presence. So yes, to have a channel, you can create your channel for free. You can create videos within YouTube as well. So just be present there. Whatever brand you represent, there's so many users that could be your potential customers that are on YouTube. Another statistic is that here, locally for Australia, if you want to reach your customers between 18 and 39 years old, 90% of those are on YouTube, actually. So people are there, so it's important to be there as well. You decide what's the message you want to pass to your clients or to your customers or users. If it's an educational video, if it's any type of a fun video, or it's a video about your product. So do have that presence. That's the #1 step. Number 2, if you do want to advertise on YouTube, so to show ads to all the users that show an intent to buy your products or services, you can do that as well. We do have different formats, short type of video ads, longer video ads. And what's good about Google and YouTube is that as an advertiser, you do pay when a user watches the entire video or clicks within that video to be redirected to your page. So you really pay for the engagement. If the user decides to skip the ad, which I'm sure all of you have done multiple times also, you don't pay for that ad because we don't consider that a valuable view or valuable engagement. So there are different ways that you can engage on YouTube when it comes to advertising. Again, short video, longer videos, even banners as well. So options are huge, and I'm pretty sure that more will come in that space as well, because internally we do talk a lot about YouTube as a next medium, because that's where we see our users are moving towards.
Of people, like the hours people are watching monthly is crazy as well. I mean, was it between 18 and 44, the average customers using?
And other statistics that I have for you. So Hannah asked me for a lot of stats. Again,
sorry.
I think
I love them.
That's what Google is famous for. So I was putting all the data yesterday, and some were very interesting, like the one that 80% of the traffic will be through video. I have a very good statistics for Australia. So 15 million Australians are active monthly on YouTube, and they spend on average 20 hours per month. So that pretty much means that every day, that average user, you, me, spends an hour on YouTube. And obviously that number increases more for different demographics. So for demographics between 18 and 39, it's actually 27 hours per month. So literally almost an hour per day watching YouTube.
Listening to
I was quite impressed, I have to say.
I mean, I don't think I lift my part of the bargain, I'm afraid. I need to start watching more.
The things that, tying it back to that customer experience and how we can do it. Let's say, for instance, you're putting up there's two parts that I like about video. First one is, say, for instance, I put up a video of 20 minutes long. I can actually change the theme of the video 2 or 3 times throughout the video, and then I can segment the bucket based on where they watched up to in the video. So if you had, say, for instance, the first 10 minutes of the video was about one certain product, and that all of a sudden that product switched a gear and you lost that viewer, you know that they were interested in that first part, not interested in the second part. So you can actually look at the viewer statistics and bucket based on that. The second part that I like about, definitely I see some really savvy advertisers doing this, is intent, right? So the intent to do something, which is really powerful, right? Say, for instance, if you were Marriott Hotel, right? And you were looking at people that were looking at bridge climb videos on YouTube, you were looking at Bondi Beach breakfast spots on YouTube, you're looking at, but you're actually based in Denmark, right? They're either aspirational, would love to go to Bondi and Sydney and do the Harbour Bridge climb, or they're imminently coming here, right? Maybe they're even looking at a premium economy versus a business class seat, right? They're coming to Australia, they're looking at all this different stuff and planning it out. You can reach those people really effectively and give them an amazing message or an experience saying, can't wait to have you here, or something like that. It's really going to appeal to them, and you're going to get huge click-through rates and getting through there. I think, just going back to Dave, I've got a question for Dave. You're in a really competitive industry, and I've been lucky enough, I don't know if everyone knows this story, but I was lucky enough to get my first desk at the back of Dave's office 4 years ago. So I've literally cohabited and watched them grow their startup, and as I was growing mine, I used to sit and I got one desk, and then I asked for another desk, and 2 desks, and 3 desks, and then when we started asking for, when we asked for half the floor, they said, get out. We weren't paying either, which was great. But what was good is we got to grow by immersion. We got to see what these guys do, and they were growing at such a rapid rate. And I'd be a fly on the wall in Dave's office and just listen to it, the way that they were growing their business. And one of the things is that he was attracting these amazing data marketers that really valued customer segmentation, personalization in an industry where even a quarter of Dave's team getting into that stale industry would have actually transformed the banks. But they weren't going to the banks; they were coming to work for Dave because they had this vision of that. This should be an easier process. It should be an easier process to be able to know that you're not being ripped off and things like that. So Dave, talk to me about the data that you guys collect and how you enhance that customer experience with the Lendi platform.
Yeah, so I was talking before about some of the earlier journeys that we started customers on. As the business has evolved and we're collecting or we're acquiring customers across all these different channels, TV, online, paid social, organic, we really had to have a data strategy, to be honest. So, and Barry from my team's here in the audience, so he only knows too well how difficult executing on a data strategy actually is. But if you get it right, it's about taking all of the different customer information. So Andrew, you're talking about CRM, and making sure you're thinking about your marketing campaigns in terms of what data could I be capturing on these customers. And there's a whole bunch of things that so that's the events that are that are happening on your platform or on your website, and how that ties into a particular user. So if you know that, hey, I've got Andrew Thorn and here's his email and his phone number, here's all the event data that ties into that. So how long he was on the page for, what bits of content he was reading, how he's interacting with the platform, the different tools or calculations he might be using. And then where we've sort of taken things to now is on a permissions basis, so based on customers opting into this, them actually connecting third-party data into the system, so things like their bank statement transaction information, so that we can enhance the experience both at a marketing level and on the platform. So Andrew was talking about personalised customer experiences. That's how we sort of recommend different products based on the customer's information. And sort of where that goes with open banking is really, really interesting. Because customers, I think, Andrew, in your earlier talk, you were talking about customers, this trade-off between privacy and user experience. I think if you can get that medium right from a customer's perspective, and they feel like their information is going to be protected, but it's going to be used to provide them a better experience, they're typically going to be happier to do it. We've even seen that shift in the last sort of 3 years when we started introducing some of these features where customers could opt in. The engagement rates on those now are significantly higher than they were even sort of 2 or 3 years ago.
And I think we're not just seeing that in home loans, we're seeing that in insurance, you know. The more you tell the insurers, the lower your premiums go, you know. But you're telling them more and more. You're like, I drive from my house to my work and I stay there for 3 hours and then I move on to here. And okay, well, because you stayed there for 3 hours, we're going to reduce it by 10%, you know. Like, you're getting a benefit, but you're sharing more information, you know. And I think it's really interesting. You make a good point. I mean, Barry's job would be very, very difficult to do with how much data that they have. But you'd be surprised the data even a small business has. You know, let's go back to you guys, you know, George and Smee. You know, you've got every event you've done. You've got everyone who's interacted with the photos you've posted to your social media channels. They're an audience, you know. You've got people that were in the event and being part of the styling and whatever you did. So you've got all that stuff. Then you've got all your customers. And you've got the employees of your customers. You know, you have all this information and you've got to track to see, did my key contact at that company just have a baby? Because I should probably congratulate her, you know? You know, and these are the things that people actually start to do. You know, we like to keep really close connection with our customers. We love to celebrate their successes because we become part of their business, you know? We're one of their team. And you know, I think being able to track this and you know, be there for them when they're down, but be there for them when they're celebrating as well is really important. And I think it goes well beyond, you know, just giving them a really stale sort of generic service. And I think that's why businesses are being disrupted, because no one is valuing that touch and that experience. So, yeah, really cool, Dave. Thank you. I'm going to talk about voice search again for the 10th time. As you can tell, we've even got the voice stuff. Who knows that you can actually order an Uber from your voice assistant? Has anyone done that? You want to go get me an Uber? Does anyone know you can order a pizza? My developers do. They all know. Sorry, guys. Had to throw that in there. So Google last year released the API that allowed you to connect in to a thing called Actions. And what that means is that these devices, they actually allowed you to tap into these devices. So be able to go and say, you know, can I get a table at a restaurant? You could code that up and you could connect your restaurant booking system and answer that question. So can I get a table at this restaurant? I was saying to Dave just before we started, I said, imagine being able to speak to your Google Home and going, hey, Lendi, is my interest rate the best I can get? You know, like, that's value. Like, being able to go along and just say, hey, you know, like I think we've gone further than just going, hey, what's the capital of, you know, wherever? Like, that was gimmicky. Now it's actually saying, what can this do to actually do it? And I think the form factor's gone. Like, the first one that Google gave me was bigger. Thanks, Elliot. And then the shorter one, when now they're smaller like this, and it's already on my phone. It's been there for ages. You know, I don't even need this, you know, so it's just a nice speaker, you know. But it's just going to be smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller to a point where you're going to start doing it, you know. Even as you come up in the lifts, we don't even press the lift button anymore, you know. Like, it's trying to make this easier and easier and easier. So, and I think that's really interesting. It's all about user experience. And I think if you go and have a look at how many user experience events are on in Sydney right now, there is literally user experience after user experience after user experience event. Because everyone's going, how can I be relevant to my customers and capture more customers? So I think this is really important. And I think when you go below it, they come up with these amazing ideas, but it's all data-driven. And you have to have the data to be able to do that stuff, you know? And if you don't have the data in the right shape, you're going to send a congratulations, you know, you're pregnant to a bloke, you know. It's going to go down like a lead balloon, you know. So true.
His partner was
true.
pregnant.
Hannah?
Well, I guess we were going to throw Dave on the spot there and see what Lendi Labs have been discussing around voice search, and if there's anything you've been thinking about, or, you know, I think we're all using Google Homes and we all know it's here, but like, is anyone thinking about how they can, you know, interact their business with voice, and do we really understand how, you know, what it triggers? And I guess it's a question for Alex afterwards as well.
I think Andrew just kind of stole my thunder a little bit there.
Sorry, Dave.
But I think like conceivably, if you think about what I was talking about before around privacy and consumers sort of trading off privacy for convenience, on our platform, we've got more and more customers every day connecting up their bank account, transaction information, as well as transacting on our platform and, you know, going with an ANZ or a CBA or a Macquarie home loan. What we're now starting to see, and what we'll see sort of increasingly, the business has only been around for 5 years. The average life of a loan in Australia is about 5 years, so we're really coming up to that curve. And most of our growth has been in the last sort of 24 months, so we're sort of coming up to that curve now of repeat transactions. And some of the things we're thinking about is around how do we, for those existing customers, how can you use things like Google Search and Google Assistant to return relevant information to that customer that can drive a transaction. So, you know, a customer asking Google Assistant, am I on the best home loan rate? Or, you know, can I get 30 grand extra on my home loan to consolidate some credit cards? We've built APIs for all of those things, and, you know, they can all be plugged into the Google Assistant. So it's really interesting. I think, you know, the world of convenience is, I think the lift is a great example. I think, you know, it's so amazing watching these features being rolled out into society, and very, very quickly, there's no barriers. Society just accepts them. So it's really interesting to watch.
I think also the consumer, especially in Dave's space, I want my bank to actually tell me that I'm not on the right loan, you know, and they're definitely not going to do that, you know. But I think where Dave's going is that he values his customer so much that he wants to tell them when they're on the wrong loan and move them to the right loan proactively. And I think that's where, because they have the data, they can do that. You know, it's a really big shift, I think, that's happening. My bank used to send me my statements via mail, and then one day they said, hey, do you want to get them via email? I was like, yeah, that's probably better because I don't throw them in the bin anyway. So, and then they noticed that I wasn't opening my emails with my statements, so they said, I'll just send you the statements to the app. I was like, even better. I don't have to actually delete your email. So, you know, it was an interesting progression, right? Paper, email, app, you know. So I think that we're going to go that way with a lot of things, and I think it's good.
Yeah, I mean, Alex, did you want to add anything about what we should be thinking about, or?
Yes, happily. Also great to hear that you're so passionate about the voice search. You can be one of our advocates for Google Assistant. Yes, so what Andrew and Dave has been talking about is something that we call Google Assistant. And this is a piece of technology that should help you in your day-to-day life. So be assistive, help you, even tell you what are your needs, even before you know what they are. Historically, the Google Assistant has been a little bit more reactive, answering questions like, yeah, what's the capital of Australia or Poland, or what's the weather like today? What we are aiming for as Google right now is to be, as I mentioned, more assistive, more helpful. So for example, using machine learning to help this technology understand what's happening in your life and help you with that to make it easier and more convenient for you. So for example, if I have my Google Assistant on my phone and I give access to my calendar to Google Assistant can tell me, look, like your next meeting is coming up in 1 hour. You didn't book a meeting room for that meeting. Would you like me to do it? And I can say, okay, Google, yes, go for it. Another type of assistive consultation or discussion from my Google Assistant could be around buying. So for example, you were mentioning the Google Assistant can know when your mom's birthday is, where your wife's birthday is, and offer you some suggestions like, hey, Alex, your mom's birthday are coming in 2 days. Would you like to hear some suggestions from me what you can buy? So again, this is the whole idea to being more assistive and more, make it easier for all of us. So yes, what we've noticed is that more and more people are actually searching using their voice. For that, I don't have specific data for you guys, unfortunately, because this is what we've been working on for now. There are a lot of, again, a lot of voice searches happening. We know that that's where the user trends are here right now, and we as Google are trying to help you with that. So Google Assistant is can be accessed not only on Google Home, which is our, let's say, the sexiest product as of now, but also on your phone, on your watch, or even with your car. Google Home has been particularly successful in Australia. Last week we had one of our global meetings where it was announced that Australia is #1 country for the number of Google Home devices per capita, which is great to see Australia leading in this area. So yes, a lot of people are interested in buying Google Home. It's a really cool device that definitely can help you with your day-to-day task and answer all your needs. There will be a lot of changes happening in this space in the next quarters. We started looking into making Google Home and Google Assistant more useful for advertisers and for the retailers. So for example, when we launch a new product, we usually choose United States as our market to test certain features. And that happened also with Google Assistant, where currently, as a retailer, you can advertise your products on Google Assistant. And as a user, you can complete full transaction on Google Assistant. Let's say I'm in my house, I'm planning to buy groceries, but I don't want to type, I don't want to go to Woolies. I just want to be at home and multitask or chat to my family. And then I'll say, okay, Google, please, I would like to buy some groceries. Can you order, I don't know, 5 bananas, rice, and an apple for me from my local store? And then Google Assistant will be able to purchase that on your behalf, make a payment, if you agree to that, obviously, and then deliver the products to you. This technology is already present in the United States. And if I can share something, I know that Australia is one of the markets where we'll be opening up this service to as well in the next weeks or months. Yeah.
Cool. I think one of the interesting things that I'm sort of hearing is that, you know, with Dave, 300 odd staff now, maybe more. Last count, yeah, too many to count. But you know, as a small business, you know, how do you start? You know, what's interesting is that they started with 4 guys. You know, we started with 1. We're now 50. You know, you guys have started with 2, and now you're 7 or 8. I think taking it all the way back is that customer experience at scale with someone like Dave, who's speaking to, you know, millions of customers a year, or even you guys, you know, as you're doing it, I think the customer experience still has to be there. So, Katie, why do you think it is that, what's the main driving fact is why people want to take you guys and style your events? And how do you think as you scale that out to 10, 15, 20, what do you think you're going to need to put in place to keep track, you know? So like, why do they, what, yeah.
20 what?
People, you know, like how are you going to keep track of it? And, you know, you obviously mentioned you hired your social media person.
Yeah.
What's the #1 reason that you think people get you to style their events right now?
I think a massive part is probably our portfolio, so being able to look at all the images of past events that we've done,
yep.
And reviews. I think recommendations, testimonials, people who we've now got loads of reviews on Google, and we encourage any customers to leave us reviews.
Yep.
And on Google My Business, I think that really helps as well.
Definitely.
I think, yeah, I mean, obviously with Google, it's just massive. Like people, organic search, people searching us on Google. And finding us, then going through the customer experience of seeing all of our images on our website, making the website as streamlined as possible.
Yep.
And yeah, I think all of those things are probably helping scale it up, and then just being able for us to be able to outsource it to people like you, yep. And our social media girl who looks after all of that, so
yep.
that we can focus on the customer when actually coming to us and we can look after them, but but getting people to look after the first part of their engagement with us.
These guys are very, very good at replying to reviews. I've now probably one of our #1 clients replying. Who replies to reviews at the moment that they get? Yeah? Everyone should be replying to reviews. You know, always reply to reviews. It's a great opportunity to be able to answer in your voice. So thank you so much for your wonderful, we loved hosting your event, you know, and you can load it up with keywords as well. So you can go, thanks for having us at, you know, your amazing wedding. It was so great to celebrate, you know, blah, blah. That's all, that user-generated comments is really good for your SEO. But the other thing is it just shows great customer experience, you know. These guys love their customers, you know. I see their customers smiling faces at their events on Instagram. You know, customers that are happy are great brand advocates, you know, because the experience is so great. So that's why they keep coming back. That's why they do it. But in a creative industry, it's actually really hard to scale. You know, that's something that we always had when we started scaling out our business. It was like I had to stop being DigitalMaas and Andrew and had to start be, you know, this business that could actually scale out without me. And one of the challenges that you guys are probably going to face is that, you know, if someone hangs something crooked, you got to be willing to accept that, you know, it's going to be crooked, you know. And, you know, so that's the hardest part. Scaling a creative business is difficult. And I think the good thing with data and being able to keep track of things and being able to keep track of your reviews, you're going to be able to pick up really quickly is if an event that you did last Tuesday isn't actually working, because the review data will start dropping. You know, maybe you start dropping a point here and a point there, and you know you can keep a track of that and optimize for that. So awesome.
I don't know if anyone has any questions, but we've got a couple of minutes. If anyone had any pressing questions to ask any of these guys, don't be shy. We've plugged a couple of secret ones if no one does. No? Yep.
I've just actually got two questions. The first question is that Andrew, you mentioned that we should contact the customer two to 4 times a month.
Yes.
I think that's unsolicited. My question is that would the customer feel, you know, harassed, you know, if it is unsolicited?
Yep. Yep. So the best way to think about customer contact, it could be something simple like sending them a copy of your blog that you just wrote. It doesn't have to be a phone call. It doesn't have to be it doesn't even have to be a sales call. It could just be something simple like, you know, posting something to social media that was going to get in front of them, that you know that's actually going to bump into them throughout their normal journey. You know, so you don't have to be, you know, harassing them or hounding them. It's just get in front of them 2 to 4 times per month. So, for instance, we will try and put up content that appeals to all different types of our audience. So we've got everyone from small SMEs through to large businesses, through to national, local retailers and everywhere in between. So we'll try to put up varied content that would appeal to them. So yeah, so my suggestion is to somehow get in front of them 2 to 4 times. So you should be emailing your customers, but they don't always have to be sales emails. Definitely don't send sales emails 2 to 4 times per month. You'll get the unsubscribes pretty rapidly. You should be sending, they're doing business with you because they like you, you know. People buy from people. I've been in sales for 15 years. I reckon 90% of my sales is because they like you, you know. So my suggestion is share your story. Share a new team member you just brought on, you know. People like to get to know the people that they're doing business with. Yeah.
Yeah, my other question is open to all of you on the panel is how much scope is there for virtual reality in digital marketing?
Yeah, well, you know, I'd say there's VR, which is, you know, fully closed off immersive experience. But last night, just before I went to bed, my son downloaded the Lego app, and we had an augmented reality experience just before he went to bed. Probably not the greatest time to introduce him to augmented reality, but what it was a Lego app, and we had his bed there with his doona and his little Mr. Bananas, and we had we were holding the phone above his bed, and we had a Lego set that got built all over his bed. So it was a police thing, and it had cars zooming up and down. Even I was saying to Scott this morning, it actually went up the undulations of his doona cover and over his pillow, and we lost the fire truck for a minute. We were looking for the fire truck because it like ducked behind. That's augmented reality. And that I see a huge future in. You might know that there's a couple of wine labels right now. There's one that you can actually look over the wine label and the wine label comes alive. It's got like a convict sort of look. I can't think of the name right now. Early days, there was Heinz was doing something with ketchup that as you hovered above the barcode, it created immersive experience. So I think in terms of marketing in general, I think there's some really good stuff with augmented reality. Virtual reality, I'd say, it isn't, you're going to put it on, you're blocked out. I think, I don't know if there's that much in that, but Google just released last night that they're now going to put augmented reality into the actual browser. Came out last night. So I can only imagine what some creative folk are going to come up with that when you can actually have augmented reality experiences inside the browser. So yeah, that was last night, and that was Lego AR experience,
Oh, I was going to say, he was asleep, right? Anyway, we just wanted to finish off the night with just one tip from our panel of what everyone should be doing for 2018, just to keep ahead of the curve, and what should we be aware of?
Yeah, I'm happy to share the 3 pillars that Google as a company shared with us employees. They all start with A, so I guess they wanted to make it easy for us. Audience, automation, and attribution. So audience, it's all about being relevant with your digital efforts to make sure that you reach those users, those clients that are relevant for your business. We shifted long time ago from targeting users just by demographics. Like I used to be so fed up 3-5 years ago when I was getting all those ads for baby products that I was definitely not in the market for. I do see a positive change. I'm not getting those ads as often anymore. So just being relevant with your message, knowing what's your audience. So for example, in 2 weeks, I'm going to New Zealand. I have my flights booked, but I haven't bought the hotel, or I don't have any activities to do. And as a matter of fact, I would love somebody to tell me what to do so I don't have to spend hours trying to research that, because I don't know much about South Island yet. So again, knowing your audience, knowing if they are in the market, where are they, on which platform, and being able to reach them with relevant message. Number 2, automation. So that's where we all should be moving towards in digital marketing. Stop thinking about manual things, about changing your AdWords campaigns if you already have ones. Think big. Think about automating things using something that we call smart bidding strategies, where your online campaign learns from the data and decides what's the most relevant bid to use for that particular users. So don't do things manually. Leave it to the machine. And unfortunately, machine is smarter than people. We run those tests at Google as well when we, as account managers, were asked to provide recommendations for certain clients. And unfortunately, machine outsmarted us. So we do all rely on machine learning. And last but not least, attribution. I've been asked a lot about attribution and the proper measurement, especially that our potential clients are all across different platforms, YouTube, search, display, Facebook, maybe even TV advertising, how to map all those touch points and be able to draw a customer journey around that. So be smart about the data, measure the data, and know what are the paths that users are taking to buy from you.
Mine's really, I think, a lot of people struggle in just getting started. So I think a lot of these things have been made so easy these days by different platforms, especially for small businesses. So, when we started out, things were genuinely, you needed an engineer to do this or an engineer to do that. And over the last few years, you've got platforms like Zapier that allow you to sort of move data from one place to another or automate something based on an action being taken. Andrew mentioned Autopilot. I think that they're a fantastic platform for small businesses wanting to automate their marketing. That space was dominated by big players like Adobe and ExactTarget kind of five or so years ago, whereas now I think you can turn them on for like $8 a month or $9 a month, free. There you go. And you can say, hey, send this email if this happens. And it's all relatively plain English. You don't have to be an engineer or technically minded to do it. So really get started and put yourself in the shoes of your customer. So a lot of people don't really think about where their customer is on the journey or what the customer's doing. And that's really the place you should start, because if you build everything around the customer, the rest takes care of itself.
Obviously, I what everyone else said. And also, maybe it's a good idea to have an event to market your brand, which we can beautifully style for you. So that's another way to market it, giving them an actual experience.
Okay, well, thank you so much for our panel for tonight. We do have some little gifts for our panel to say thank you for sharing all of your amazing things. There we go. Your little DigitalMaas, yeah. Yay. There we go. You're welcome. Yeah, so Angelique, you have our winner from our hashtag competition as well. How did everyone find the content? Did you learn something you can implement? Hopefully. Thanks so much for trading your night to come and listen to us speak. One of the things that we really like doing is we love sharing information. We have an incredibly smart team around the room, and we love putting on these events. It's a huge effort to put on the events and put everything together. So I just want to say thanks to my team for putting it all together. Fantastic. Okay. So thank you so much. I hope you got something out of it tonight. And the panelists are very approachable as well. So if you've got any questions that you didn't feel comfortable asking during the panel, feel free to come up to them after the event and have a chat. More than happy to talk to anyone as well. So Ange has the winner of our hashtag competition.
Yeah, so Maxim_M_M.
Yeah. There we go. There we go. Thank you. All right. And we have some T-shirts to give away as well, and an SEO prize. Cool. So T-shirts. Questions or T-shirts? Yeah. Okay. So if just anyone who wants a T-shirt, what's the biggest takeaway for tonight that you're going to take away and implement in your business, or the biggest thing that you're actually quite shocked about that you heard tonight? Yeah.
The 3 out of 4 searches on Google with voice.
Yeah.
Really,
Awesome. You get a shirt. Anyone else?
I think it's about pushing more content out. I think I'm in a standalone marketing role, and sometimes a bit scared to leave that corporate thing. Don't want to push something out that's not relevant. Well,
Yep.
I'm probably doing a disservice and not pushing enough out. And
Exactly.
Keep hiding too much.
Yeah, no, 100%. Just create, so don't worry about that. Last one, anyone else?
Andrew, I want to ask my Google Home if I get a cheaper mortgage.
Cheaper mortgage, there you go. Jay's going to have to get it coded up tonight. There we go. All right, here we go. I don't want to look for this. There we go.
Give them a week.
Oh, they're all stuck together.
I feel like Katie should.
Natasha Burgess, building block. There you go. There's a free SEO. Thank you. There we go. We'll see you after the event. So, yeah, thanks a lot for coming along. We've still got some food left over from the Blonde Butler caterer, so if you didn't get a box, please do. He's done an amazing job with those boxes, so if you feel free to eat and drink. There's some gin and tonics at the back. We've also got a beer tap, so make sure you get stuck into that as well. There's also cider on tap, and there's wine and stuff like that floating around. So feel free to network and enjoy yourself afterwards. So thanks a lot.